This is Diane Santiago, and this is my presentation on the book I reviewed, Leaders That Make the Future, in fulfillment of my master's degree at UT Arlington. It's going to be a YouTube presentation, and the author that wrote this book is Bob Johansen. He has 30 years of leadership experience and a PhD from Northwestern, a master's degree in world religion, and has guided many companies such as Disney, Nestle, and Walmart. He's a 10-year forecaster and one of the first social scientists to study internet in the digital age in organizations. His specialties are in healthcare management and is a keynote speaker, has written 10 books, and is a distinguished fellow at the Institute of the Future. The purpose of his book was to go over the 10 new leadership skills for an unseen world. So basically 10 leadership skills that could be used in the digital age. So he goes over insight, clarity, dilemma flipping, immersive learning, bioempathy, constructive depolarization, quiet transparency, rapid prototyping, smart mobbing, organization, and common creating. And these 10 tips are basically tips for a new or established leader. And basically in these 10 new leadership skills, he basically talks about having 10-year foresight, being clear, always flipping a situation that can be it can be a burden or difficult into a challenge, and accepting that challenge to really grow as a leader. And also, you basically going into every situation and trying to be as transparent as you can, giving some information but not all, and also really going into people's skill set and really seeing which each individual is really good at when making a task force. Like if I'm really good at PowerPoint, assigning PowerPoints to me, and really still checking in even in the digital age of using like the telephone or in-person conversation, that still doesn't go away even with the internet. Not everything should be over email. And then the next thing I'm going to talk about is strengths and shortcomings. So it's still pretty relevant in today, this book, and it talks about two generations: the digital native, which is myself, who grew up with technology her whole life, and digital impaired, so someone from the baby boomer generation and really embracing technology. It talks about work groups and its effectiveness and how to stay on task with meetings still in person, maybe every quarter opposed to all the time, especially embracing like the internet and being able to communicate in further places. And I think the book was really diverse in terms of it could be used across the board in any type of organization, small or big. And its shortcomings would be that it was written in 2012, so there's almost a need for the update since it's been almost 10 years, and that it talks about internet kind of in the past, because we've embraced all those things today with social media being like a normal thing in today's society. And the other thing is, I didn't think that the social media part was super applicable to healthcare, but it may be that I'm just not on the marketing end. For the objectives, I think that the author really met them, meaning that he really described foresight, insight, and action, meaning seeing the bigger picture and 10 years ahead and having insight on the employees and like what the organization and vision is, and action as in terms of like what are we going to do and how are we going to embrace this. I think this author achieved the objectives for targeting a new leader and a seasoned leader, since at the time the internet and social media was new. So I think it goes for any leader that wants to learn and embrace new styles and tips to become a better leader or improve. The last thing is the recommendations. I would say that the book is really diverse. It's applicable to healthcare, business, small business, a new leader, a seasoned leader, and a graduate student, someone maybe in an MBA program or even a graduate program where it's a lot of group tasks, and maybe in undergrad as like a president of an organization or a lead for the project. I think these are really good tips. my last thing that I'm going to talk about is the suggestion. I think this book should be updated since this author likes to do 10-year foresight. And at this point, it's been 10 years already. So there's an update due in 2021 or 2022. And I think it should include things like applications being used today in the pandemic and in today's society for any organization using programs like Zoom, Teams, Skype, Slack, and just basically share drives where we can all share and all work remote. And that's pretty much it. These are my references. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.